Hello, I'm Karen, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to crochet the baby cardigan from the word Göbekli Tepe. I'm doing the tiny cardigan, which is going to fit the Antonio Joan doll, which is a 10-inch doll, which represents approximately a 28-week premature baby. Okay, I also will demonstrate how to make it into bigger sizes, but for now we're just going to make the tiny one. So the pattern is from the word Göbekli Tepe. So we've got the circle equals a magic circle, the C equals a chain, a straight line down equals a double crochet if you're in the US, and a treble crochet if you're in the UK. A V-stitch is a double crochet, chain one, double crochet if you're in USA, or treble crochet, chain one, treble crochet if you're in the UK. And the sideward line equals a slip stitch if you're in the US, and a single crochet if you're in the UK. I'm using a 4mm crochet hook, which is a G6 in the US, and I'm using double knit yarn, which I think is light worsted yarn if you're in America, which recommends a 4mm crochet hook, and I'm using a delicate lemon colour. I'm going to keep the pattern in front of me because we're going to work the pattern and cross each bit off as we go along. Okay, and so what we need to do is begin with a magic circle. If you really can't do a magic circle, you can actually use a slip knot. Okay, so we're just going to use magic circle and then do a chain of 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. So that's this first bit done. Then we're going to do a V-stitch, which is the double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet if you're in the US, and like I said, it's a treble crochet, chain 1, treble crochet if you're in the UK. Then we need to do, and we're using the same stitch, so we need to do 2 more of these stitches. That's the straight line down, so that's the 2, and we can tick that bit off. Then it's chain 1 and work 2 stitches, so that's 1 and 2, so tick that one off. Then I'm going to work a V-stitch, so that's 1 stitch, chain 1 and another stitch to make the V-stitch, and then we've got 2 stitches after that, so that's 1 and 2, so we can tick that one off. Then it's chain 1 and work 3 stitches, so that's 1, 2 and 3. Then it's chain 1 and another 3 stitches, that's 2 and 3. Just do that one there, and then we need to do 1 more chain 1 and a double crochet if you're in the US, or a triple crochet if you're in the UK, and then we're just going to pull the tail end just so that it's tighter. And what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the beginning chain, underneath 2 strands if you can. So that's the first round, and it's the first round which actually is the word Göbekli Tepe. What we're going to do now is just slip stitch into the next stitch and into the chain 1 space. The round 2 and continuing on is the granny pattern. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll do round 2 first, just so that you can see that we've actually created the mini hexagon in the middle. Okay, so we've done a chain of 3, which counts as a stitch, and then we're going to work 2 double crochet if you're in the US, or 2 triple crochet if you're in the UK, chain 1, and then work 3 stitches in the same space. That's 1, 2 and 3. Just get myself some more yarn. And then in each of the chain 1 spaces we're going to be working 3 double crochet or 3 treble crochet, a chain 1, and then 3 stitches again, so you end up with 6 stitches in each of your corners. And because in each of these ones you're going to make a corner, just like you was doing if you was doing a granny square, you're making a granny hexagon. So you have 3 stitches in between these chain ones from that middle round. Okay, so that's 3 in there, chain 1 and work 3. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and then into the next one, the next chain 1 space, that is, work 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and then work 3 more stitches. So that's 2, and this one makes the 3rd. I need some more yarn. Excuse me. There we go. And then we're going into the next chain 1 space. So that's 1, 2 and 3, chain 1 and 1, 2, 3, and then 1 more chain 1 space to work the last corner piece in, and we'll have completed the the second round. Okay, and once we get to the end, we do the same. We slip stitch into the 3rd chain to be able to join. Okay, so we've done 2 rounds. We're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain to join, and then you slip stitch up, so you go underneath the 2 strands of the double crochet stitches until you get to the corner, which is the chain 1 space, and you start again. I'm just going to do a first little bit of this round, just so that you know that. So you do, this is always a corner piece. The chain 3 is always classed as a stitch in this particular pattern, and when we move on, because we're doing the sides, I forgot to show you. Look, because it's the hexagon, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got our 6, and if you're doing so now in these in between spaces, in between the corners, you're just going to work a set of 3. So as you increase your rounds, you always do the corners in a corner and then the flat piece at the side piece, and you keep on going until you've got 4 rounds. Okay, when you've actually got 4 rounds, it'll end up looking like this, which is a wobbly hexagon, and it's supposed to be wobbly, okay, for it to be able to work. And what we do is so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds. We're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain to join. We're going to work into the next 2 double crochets, and what you want to do to make the sleeve, you're going to go into this chain 1 space here, but you also want to go into this next one at the right hand side. So you want to fold it over and go into the chain 1 space there and slip stitch. Now you want to go to the next stitch at the front, but you want to match it up at the back. To be able to match it up, you'll see that there's a chain spaced right above this hole. You count from there, so 1, 2, 3, and that is the top of the next stitch. This will make sure that your stitches match up as you now work along, and you do each of these stitches to be able to slip stitch to join together. And what we do is we don't slip stitch all the way to the end, because we're going to add on to this. Okay, so this is the first stages, and I just want to show you how you would do that. Excuse me. And we're nearly there. So what you do is, with the tiny baby, you leave 1 block of 3 unworked. So that's the very end bit there. Because I'm at the end, that's it. I'm just going to pull that through. You can do like a slip stitch at the end. So you end up with a piece that looks like that. Okay. Once you pull this tail end tighter, it becomes more like that. And you need to make 2 pieces. So let's just get this one, pull that tail in tighter there. And as you see, when you put them together, they actually form the letter T. I know that they're a little bit wonky, but don't worry, as you work it along, it actually straightens out more. And what I'm going to do now is just share with you how the actual pattern makes the word Göbekli Tepe and why it's important to remember for the letter T. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a capital G by using the C and the V, but the V is going to be that way around. And we've got the O. We want to make a B, so we're going to have 2 lines down. So that's 1, 2, and then this curve is going to go that way around to make the B. Then we want to make a letter E, so we're going to have the C and a line. And we want to make a K, which is 2 lines down, 1, 2, and then this V is going to be put that way around to make the K. Then we want 1, 2 more lines to make the L. We've still got one over there to be able to use as the I, so Göbekli. And then we want a T, so a T is 1 line down, 1 line across, and the C is that way around. So if I've got 1 line, and this C, we want to make an E, which is C with one of the lines. Then we want to make a P, which is 2 lines, 1, 2, and then the C is back to front to make the P. And then we've got 1 line left there and 1 C there to make the final E, which makes Göbekli Tepe. And Göbekli Tepe has got 2 little dots above the O, which is an umlaut, which is to make sure you say go instead of gob. And so that's to remind you that you need 2 pieces that make a T shape. At Göbekli Tepe, all of the pillars are actually T-shaped, okay? And it is in Turkey, which is just there, just in case you want to see. Sorry about the printing, but that was from the last one. But Göbekli Tepe is just here, which is just bordering, actually, really, between Turkey and Syria, in that sort of area. Okay, so once you've actually created your 2 pieces to create effectively your letter T, what you want to do is you want to add on an extra row. So I'm just going to cut this piece off here, just so that I've got my yarn. And to add an extra row, this is to make sure, because when you put it onto baby, you'll see that there's a gap. It's not quite big enough, but the sleeves are long enough. So that's for the armpit to the wrist, but we don't quite fit. So what we do is we go to the corner where we've got that chain 1 space. We slip stitch in, make a chain of 3, and then we work the double, still the same double crochet if you're in the US, or the treble crochet. We just work, because even though this is a corner, we just work 1 set of 3 in that corner, and then we work all the way down. 2 and 3. And what we do is we work, so you're going to keep on working, so you work all the way around there till you come back to the other side, and you make both pieces exactly the same, so that you end up with 2 pieces that are actually that bit bigger. If you look at the comparison, yeah, we can see that extra row. And once you've got those 2 pieces that work together, obviously you cut off one end but not the other. The end, this is the end that we've finished working now, but I did cut it off just so that I've actually got room to be able to do this. What you do is you find the 3rd stitch. You go 1, 2, 3. You want to go into the 3rd stitch on this side, oops daisy, underneath the 2 strands, and then you pick up the loop from the other side, if I can get it, and pull my tail end tight and pull that loop through. Then we want to work into the 2nd stitch. So remember I said here, so we want to go 1, 2, want to make sure that's gone into the 2nd stitch, just there, and then into the 3rd, like that. and you're going to slip stitch the 2 pieces together. So effectively you're going to make the whole cardigan inside out. Okay, and we go all the way down to the bottom. We just keep slip stitching to the bottom, and you slip stitch as well into that last loop at the very end. So you end up with another piece which is even bigger. Now on this one you can see what I've done is I've joined it, but then I've added another row. This is to make sure that we can overlap, ready for our buttons, because if we don't do the overlap, just get this red one, what happens is you end up with your pieces just end up joining down the center, and so to try and overlap you're pulling over, and it's not quite, it just makes it a tight fit on baby or on your doll. So if you add the extra row, and then once you've, because you can see I've begun it at the lower bit down. Yeah, so on this one, when you're actually making these ones to be the same sizes, you start at the top. Once you've slip stitched together, you add on one more row, and then the final part, what you do to be able to finish it all off is, while it's still all inside out, is you then slip stitch into the chain 3 space, and then what you can do is you can slip stitch into those chains, or you can actually work a single crochet, and then you work. So if I do a single crochet, so I can do 2 single crochet there, and then we can work a single crochet in the top of all of these stitches as we go around, which will give you that neater finish when you actually get into the end. So over that bit there, and then into the top of that stitch there as you go around, and then that'll just tidy up your cardigan as you actually do it. Okay, so that's how I actually created the baby cardigans. The actual very beginning cardigan that I showed you is just completely and utterly a raw one, where I didn't do any of the edges. It just fitted the actual doll without doing anything, but it was only just, if you look at the way that it goes across to the tummy, and when you think when there's extra clothing over the top, it doesn't want to meet, which is why I added on, say like I showed you on this one, it just met like that. So you needed to add on that extra row to be able to do the buttons. Now the actual buttons, ooh, I'm losing the pieces there. The actual buttons are also made from images from the Göbekli Tepe site. Now what I'm going to do is, just in case this video goes completely and utterly wrong, I'm going to say thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and thank you for subscribing at this point. Okay, so this is a top image of Göbekli Tepe. I said it was in Turkey. These are the pillars that I'm talking about. I did share the netted one in my other one, but on the other ones we've got what look like English lettering around them. So that's where I went wrong, sorry, earlier on with it. So these are close-up images where you can actually see down the side and you can see the other side. I did get images around the other side, but there's no actual lettering. When you actually write that lettering out, it looks like this, like you've got some C's, some H's, back to front C, and some I's. If you actually turn that also into a crochet pattern, I'll do this one in lilac, just so we've got a different colour. You get all of these lines, and so this next one, to do it as a cross, becomes a single crochet if you're in the US, or a double crochet if you're in the UK. So what we do is we do a chain of 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We slip stitch to join in the first strand. Then we're going to keep the tail end to your left hand side and work it as you actually work in your pattern, work it underneath. And the actual single crochet makes 10. So there's 1, I'm sorry, this is not going to be the neatest button, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then I've done this, left it so there's 2 slip stitches at the end. That's 1. Oh, I've split my yarn, that's not good. And 2. Just going to cut off the tail end. What we do with the tail end, I'm saying I'm really worried that I'm going to run out of time because my things keep lasting for 20 minutes. I'm on 20 minutes. So what we do is we go through the stitch we've just made, pull that through to the back, and then we pull it back through to the front, and that one's going to go through the center. And then the very beginning one, you pull that one tight so it tightens up the button, and then this one you pull it tight, and then when you actually you can even just tie it, but you create the little buttons which are the perfect size buttons, as we can see from here. So I'm just going to put them through and show you that these actually do fasten up. And so by using the word Göbekli Tepe, you can create a cardigan from the actual T-shaped pillars. You can actually create the buttons, and so we ended up with a very simplistic cardigan made from the granny pattern. And I just wanted to share that that's one of the ancient monuments that I can actually crochet up a piece of clothing for. So thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, thank you for subscribing. I'm really pleased this video worked. Bye for now.